Great. Kristen here with Pop Culture Madness, and I am here with Andy from Black Veil Brides backstage at Crocodile Rock in Allentown. Can you introduce yourself and say hi to our site visitors?
I think you introduced me sufficiently, actually, but I'll say it again. Hello, I'm Andy Biersack of Black Veil Brides. We are backstage at the Crocodile Rock. Can you introduce yourself and say hello to the viewers?
Sure I can. It's Kristen Clark again backstage.
Let's just do this for like 12 minutes. Yeah, you can just keep
Yeah. So, I mean, the crowd's absolutely insane downstairs. I mean, how does it feel, when you're on stage and you're looking out and you're seeing all these people and they're screaming and they know all the words and...
It's amazing. I mean, I'd be a fool to think anything other than that. No, we're so appreciative, and we're able to go around the world and play our music and have fun, and it's the dream job, I guess, if you could call it that. But I'm thankful every day for what we have, and I know that, like anything, people, you don't know how the music industry is going to go, so for us, we're just fortunate that we have the audience that's allowing us to do something like this, and we don't take it lightly.
Absolutely. So you guys just got back from the UK. How are the crowds differing over there versus the States?
It's a little different culture over there. The rock culture is a little bit more prevalent, and we're playing probably larger places in the UK than we are in the States in some markets. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same. A couple thousand people every night having fun and singing songs, and it's a great time.
So the last time I think I caught up with you was Rock on the Range last year. I'm going to see you guys are on board to play again this year, which is awesome. Definitely looking forward to that. What is the difference for you playing festivals like that versus smaller club shows like this one?
We've played quite a few festivals, so I think it's something that we kind of are accustomed to. The distinction is usually very hot. Given that they're usually summer situations, the few that we've played that have been in non-summer weather has been very interesting. We played some European festivals that weren't in the summer, and that's very cold and sort of rainy, and that's also fun too. But I like the summer festival situation. I think it's fun. For us, I think the image thing is kind of cool. There's something cool about the dichotomy of the band that is predominantly dressed in black and kind of has a darker image. Being in the sunlight and everything, it's kind of rad. I like the contrast, and we've done Warped Tour before, obviously, and doing it again this year, and it's a lot of fun to do those kind of things. So.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I don't know if you remember or not, but it was 2010, and Epicenter in California was the first time that it was Epicenter.
Kevin, my publicist, and I were just talking. We're like, when did we do that interview with them in the trailer? It was at Epicenter. That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been following the evolution of your band, since then up until now, and I mean, I've seen such growth and such maturity, even within your music, the concepts behind it. Can you talk a little bit about that evolution and where you guys are now?
Well, I mean, I think that it's definitely a natural growth for us. I don't think we've always made a concerted effort to not do things that were against our intuition. We've just kind of always gone with our gut and done things that felt like the right move. So, even leading up into making a concept record, it just seemed like the right thing for us to do. So, it would be hard for me to detach myself and look at what we do from an outsider's perspective because I'm so engrossed in it. But from our perspective, it's just doing what we love and trying to up our game every time we go out on stage or every time we make a record or anything else. It's just about the growth of the band and continuing to, I guess, stay true to what we initially thought the band was going to be and the vision of the band.
Well, I mean, you guys have put together an absolutely brilliant album with Wretched and Divine. It's definitely top of the list, for albums that have come out so far this year. Where do you think that you go next from here? I mean, do you want to follow that, or do you think that you guys will evolve yet again?
It's hard to say really what is going to be the next move because again, we try not to get too bogged down by, I guess the nature of what are you going to do to follow it up or whatever. Right now we're just living in the moment, and the record's done really well, and we had our first top 10 record of our career, and it's just we're enjoying the hell out of it, and we're going to live in this moment right now. I know that the next record, whatever we do, is going to be another big step for us just because that's our nature. We like to continue to grow. So without beating a dead horse, I think that the band actually becoming more unified through this record only bodes well for our next record.
Absolutely. So can you talk a little bit about the recording process? I have to note, I know a girl named Caitlin Higgins worked on the album with you guys. She was actually one of our interns at
really?
Pop Culture Madness. I saw her on the liner notes. I'm like, what? I was like, that's my intern.
Yeah, no, she was an intern for John Feldman.
Right.
And went and got me orange chicken and got my coffees and was very, very sweet to us, as was a guy named Mike Hart. The two of them were the interns in the studio every day, and it was it was one of those experiences where everybody that was involved, from the interns getting us food to the people that are helping us record to the people that are just in the room every day, like everybody was so involved and so invested, and so thankful to have had that experience. We never got to do anything like that before. We'd never worked with such a hands-on producer or in such a an intense setting like that, where the studio was really run like a machine, and it was a lot of fun.
So in what ways did he challenge you as an artist?
I think that more than anything, he just made it very clear that he wanted to bring out the elements of my singing and songwriting that were missing. The things that I needed to really improve on, and he was very clear about that. And it was good because I think with anything, someone tells you they're going to improve you, and then your initial thing is like, well, I think I'm great. I think anybody on a base level immediately responds that way. But to me, it was like I had such respect for him and the way that he came at me with his concepts and everything. I wanted to grow and I wanted to learn from him.
It's great. I mean, I think, I personally, if I'm listening to the record, I would recommend listening to it, as a whole cohesive unit, because that's when you really pick up on the story and the climax and all of that. But, I think it is also relatable.
I like the climax during the record, actually.
That'd be a good thing, right? At what point? What point would you like them to climax?
Record, just one big orgasm, just from the beginning of the record to the end.
Well, that could be definitely interesting. So, while you were putting everything together, how did it come together? Did you come up with one song or and follow the story from front to back, start to finish?
It all started with a script that I wrote, an initial short story called The Wild Ones, and I took that to some buddies of mine, Patrick Fogarty, who does all of our music videos, and he did the movie, and Richard Villa, who does our artwork, and I said, hey, I've got this short story thing that I'm thinking about adapting into a record, and do you guys want to just mess around with it? You're both very artistic people, they're both very close friends of mine, and so they kind of took the ball and ran with it and wrote a whole script adaptation of a film adaptation of my short story. Through that, then we had that kind of in the canon was already kind of the script with character descriptions and all this other stuff, where it was like we kind of based a lot of stuff off of bouncing back to that script and using it almost as a reference point. But at the beginning of the record, we started writing under the context of we're going to make this concept record, and we found that almost bogged us down a bit, because your creative freedom is hindered when you're trying to focus, on a little pinhole. And once we kind of took the concept record hat off for a bit and said, let's just write great rock songs, we found that we were so intrinsically interested in the concept that we were just writing that way naturally. So the record really did come from a place of a deep love and respect for the story and the subject matter, and trying to do something that was representative of that. Obviously, the record is probably best heard from start to finish, but we also wanted to make it so that people could listen to songs individually on the record and not feel like they're out of it.
I could also say it on stage, as funny as that sounds. Like a Broadway thing. Are you guys ever open to that?
Oh, I'm open to anything. I think that we're the kind of band, obviously the theatricality of the look and everything, we're open to literally anything that we can do, any kind of medium. We're obviously big comic book fans and fans of film and fashion and everything, so there's really no ceiling for what we think we can do with the record or any previous releases that we've done. So I think that moving forward, we're just going to keep adding and doing cool stuff. I know that we've been talking about doing a graphic novel from it, and a stage adaptation would be amazing.
Yeah, no doubt. So, how do critics affect you? Do you ever read into that, or do you just kind of put it to the side?
Well, my shirt says, I hate black veiled brides. If you look at that, that's I hate BVB. No, I agree with all the critics. We're awful. No, I laugh at the criticisms, not because I think that I'm above being critiqued, but because you can't get down on yourself for what you create. It's your art, and you want to make the best thing that you can make. And if people don't like it, that's not really, I'm not trying to force everybody in the world to listen to my band. The one thing that is always frustrating is the people that don't even listen to the music, and they just write it off based on something else. And there's a lot of people will say things like, oh, I hate bands like this and this, and then it'll be like Black Veil Brides will get lumped in with bands that are like electro, like dance bands, and we're like, you don't really listen to the music, do you? It's just based on, you just sort of look at the hair, and then the hair is indicative of what the band sounds like. But, I mean, that being said, it doesn't really matter to me. We look and sound and do what we want, and we sound what we want. I don't think that works. That wasn't a good... we sound how we want. We do what we want. No, you know, we don't really care. It's the people that come up to us and tell us that the band has affected them positively far outweigh the people that are saying we're fags or whatever else.
So how, therapeutic is it for you, or is it difficult for you to put so much of yourself out there? Because a lot of it is very honest, and the themes that you're, carrying forth in your music are very honest.
I don't think we've ever done anything else, so I don't know that I would know how to write songs that weren't in some way a reflection of myself. I don't think that I've ever had the interest in writing, because even this concept is all meant to be parallels for things that we've experienced. We were writing, it's all meant to be metaphorical for real life experiences. So I don't know. I think that this is the only thing I've ever known, so it would be weird for me to try to write outside of my own perspective. I think that opening yourself up is the job of an artist. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to write about their life all the time. Obviously, there's great writers who write fiction, right. And I'm just saying that even in the greatest works of fiction, there is some honesty within it, and I think that you have to do that in order to be any kind of artist that is doing something that is, I guess, respectable. But by the same token, I'm not precious about it. I don't consider myself to be a fine artist or anything. I'm obviously an artist due to the fact that I play in a rock band and I'm on stage and performing art, and it's an art form, but it's also loud and heavy and sweaty. So my art is just covered in war paint.
So, what was that pivotal music moment that occurred in your life that said, I have to do this for a career? Was there anything that stands out?
Oh, immediately. Probably 4 or 5 years old, I found my dad's old collection of 70s rock memorabilia and started really heavily getting into rock music from that young of an age. And there's really nothing else I ever wanted to do. I think that my backup career would be to be Batman, I think was the other thing, because it was prior to finding rock music in that way, I wanted to be a superhero, and then I found rock music and I was like, this is great, I'll be a superhero and play on stage. So now I'm just a superhero with no powers.
Okay.
Or that big of a hero, really.
That works. Well, Andy, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. I appreciate it. Do you have any comments you'd like to share with fans?
Again, I'll just say that my name is Andy Biersack, and we're here at the Croc Rock backstage, and I just wanted to introduce myself again. I like to do an outro and an intro.
That works. We'll just keep cutting them back and forth.
Please, keep doing it. All right.
Great. Thank you.